silent pandemic, and we need to take it very, very seriously. We know that it's not just here in Uganda, but something that is actually a global problem, as probably some of you already know. It is also increasing. It's not decreasing, it's just increasing in terms of the number of people suffering with AMR and the number of people dying. And as we have already heard, about 700,000 people are estimated to die of AMR or resistant infections every year. And by 2050, this was courtesy of George O'Neill. He said, if nothing is done, about 10 million people will be dying of resistant infections every year. And of these infections, the 10 million annual deaths, 80% of these are expected to occur in our kind of countries like Uganda. Yeah, so we come back home. As I said, it's not only a problem that is a global problem, it's also a problem here at home. I'm sure Dr. Kajumbla is somewhere in this room as the chair of the National Antimicrobial Resistance Committee. And yeah, we've been working together, and some of the things he'll probably attest to them. In Uganda, according to statistics, about 5,620 attributable deaths are due to AMR. And this is data of 2021. So it's a problem that is rising, and we need to pay attention to it. And there are many other things that you have also seen in your own experiences, in your own homes, in your own clinics. Things that we used to treat very, very easily cannot be treated as easily as we used to. There's resistance in urinary tract infections. Gonorrhea, which was just a single shot, you can no longer treat it that way. Methicillin resistance is on the rise. Typhoid, I'm sure that for most of you who live in Kampala, you know the problem of typhoid. It has also become very resistant, especially to common drugs that used to treat it. Even malaria, where we used to think that now we have found our artemisinin combinations, we are safe. We have begun to see resistance to these artemisinin-based combinations. We can talk less about HIV. I'm sure most of you would know HIV more than I do. I've also been studying fungal infections, and resistance to fungal infections is actually on the rise. These bigunas that we used to treat very, very easily can no longer be treated as easily as we would treat them before. Now, the question is, why are we failing to catch up with these organisms? Okay? I want to say that this is my own statement, and I say that AMR, or antimicrobial resistance, is like death. You can't avoid it. Okay? One day all of us will not be here, we'll be gone. But you can prolong it. And you can prolong it by things that you do, or you can accelerate it by things that you do. And I can say that AMR is a disease or a condition that we as human beings are very guilty of prolonging. And so I hope that by the end of today, we'll all have become champions to be able to see what we can contribute. I always say that we're all part of the problem, and therefore we should all be part of the solution. These microbes evolve very, very fast. They multiply very, very fast. Unfortunately, they multiply faster than the rate at which we make the solutions for them. Okay? To make a good antibiotic, synthetically or going through the normal system takes very many years and lots of money. But for a microorganism to multiply, it takes only maybe 20 minutes for E. coli. It will have doubled itself. There is transfer. These organisms actually have mechanisms in the inside of them to be able to resist. Now, when you expose them to drug pressure, they release those compounds to be able to defend themselves. And that's not the only big problem. The other problem is that when they have released these compounds, they're able to transfer this gene that has been switched on to other organisms that are around them. And so it becomes a bigger problem at the end of the day. Now, the elephant in the room, overuse and misuse of antibiotics or antimicrobials. And there's a bullet I put there called self-medication. Okay? Self-medication. I think we need to I don't know, to look at ourselves and have some form of repentance, you know, because, you know, we all go to the pharmacy and you say, oh, I have this cough, please give me something. Or you go to the neighbor or share a medicine with somebody. So this is a practice that is actually promoting something that is very, very dangerous. We also have systems, you know, how do we give out our drugs in hospitals and in health facilities? You know, in our health facilities, how do we prevent infection? Cleanliness in our health facilities is very key, because if we go to places that are clean, we'll be able to not get infections from hospitals. Of course, the pipeline for innovation is broken. There are very, very few new compounds that have been released probably in the last 20 years. And it should worry all of us here that one day you will get an infection that cannot be treated. Okay? It should worry you, because all of us are candidates for infection at any one point in time. And of course, the last one is the diagnostic systems. You know, our diagnostic systems are still very slow. I'm a microbiologist. You know, my major tool is culture. And culture will take you about 3 days, you know, if you are lucky. It can take more than 3 days if you are able to identify the organism. You know, but there are times when you can't grow the organism, yet it is present. So at Mbarara University, we took on an approach to try and answer, you know, not just to sit and lament and see, oh, the problem is very big, the problem is very big. We decided to become part of the solution, and we're very thankful to the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Science and Technology that funded us to be able to test these approaches and see how far we can go. So one of the approaches was to really understand the problem, and not just understand this problem from the current situation, but also looking at modeling. How will this problem be 10 years, 20 years from now? Because this helps in people who are designing solutions, designing both diagnostic solutions and also treatment solutions, so that you do not go and want to design a drug, design a diagnostic that in 3 years will be useless. So we did go into the data that we had at the university and decided to do modeling. And you will see some of the results of our modeling. And then, of course, the other solution was to try and go back to where we came from, where we started. All of us know that somewhere in about 1927, a gentleman by the name Fleming somehow discovered a cure. The drug was called penicillin. And this was from natural sources. We have drugs like quinine, which come from plants, and other drugs like Covidex and others that have come from the natural sources. And then we're also making an attempt not only to lament about the speed of diagnosis, but to be part of the solution. So we went in and collected all the information that we had gathered at Mbarara University over a period of time and the hospital, and began to say, where is the problem? How can we understand what the problem is? And how can we project what this problem will be like? And we find that the patterns of resistance to drugs that we abuse commonly, like ceftriaxone, ceftriaxone. I think if I checked carefully here, there will be somebody with a cannula. Okay? You are here, you put on a coat, but inside there, there is a cannula. I always get amazed. You know, when I was training in medical school, I thought that cannulas were put on very sick people. They are vomiting, they are not able to swallow. But today, you just walk from this meeting and you feel unwell, and you go to the clinic nearby and you say, for me, I want something which will do it quick, quick. So please fix the cannula. And then you find somebody in a taxi, somebody selling charcoal, you know, but he's having a cannula. And the drug that will be given to that person will most likely be ceftriaxone. And so, because we are abusing it, yeah, organisms are also responding. And when they respond, we don't have a lot of tools to fight back. There is also declining resistance to amoxicillin clavulanic acid. And this is because we are not using it as much as we used to use it. And this tells us that when you apply drug pressure, these organisms switch on resistance mechanisms. When you reduce drug pressure, then that mechanism kind of eases out. And the message I have for us today is, yeah, please, if you're supposed to take a drug, take it, take the right drug in the right dosage and through the right route and for the right period of time. You will be saving not only yourself, but saving all of us. This is also multi-drug resistance among urinary pathogens. I'm sure that most of us here have heard people talk about UTI, urinary infections. And these are common infections and very common. And you can see that the rate of resistance, and MDR means that your organism that has been isolated from your sample is resistant to at least 3 classes of drugs, which is a very terrible situation. Oh, how can I go back? Okay, we also try to look at, from our data, look at issues of gender. Okay, because we know that we don't have the same challenges with infection, both men and women. And we found that among women who usually have very repetitive cycles of urinary tract infections, their E. coli that was isolated from them had very high rates of multi-drug resistance. Okay? And for men, it was the Staph aureus. And you can see that for the women, it could be biological because they usually suffer from urinary tract infections quite commonly. And for men, these are urinary samples that are coming from wounds, and these are also occupational hazards. You get a wound as you work, and you get this Staph aureus that is resistant. So, at Mbarara University, we set out to not just only do the predictions, but also provide some solutions. As I said, going back to where we started. And all of us, I'm sure, have had an experience from either a mother or a grandmother giving you some herb. The problem is that these herbs are given in dosages that may not be therapeutic, that may not be able to treat you. They give you a whole jerrycan, and you wonder, how am I going to take this whole jerrycan? Okay, so we said, okay, we shall pick the same plants, take them through a scientific process, and be able to come up with dosages that people can actually use. These are antifungals as you look at them. I'm sure when you look at them there, you can't think that these are drugs that are coming from plants. We are mostly used to looking at drugs from plants in jerrycans, in mineral water bottles, and some other kind of containers. But we believe that our drugs can also be effective and put on shelves, and people take them, and they will be effective in treating infections. We have many testimonies of people that have used these antifungals and have gotten very well. So the first two there, the skin ointment and the pessary, have gone to NDA, and NDA has notified them, which means that now we can start to use them as we prepare to submit them to CONAT for clinical trials. And the other two are in the pipeline to be cleared by NDA. And those of you who have taken something to NDA, you know that it is not a walk in the park. Okay? By the time they say it's ready to go, they probably know that it is not going to kill people. It is going to work and help people. So soon, you will see these products in pharmacies, and I'm sure when you see them, you should go and buy them. Don't say, these are Vishakas from Mbarara. Okay? They work. We also went back to the soil, and in the soil, we're able to identify about 200 organisms. We collected samples of water from different environments within southwestern Uganda. We went to Chitagata, which is a hot spring, one in Bushenyi, another one in Kabale. We went to Maberega Nyinamwiru in Fort Portal. We went to the abattoirs. So we collected different types of samples with the thinking that these unique environments should be able to harbor unique bacteria. We know that many drugs that we take today have actually been gotten from organisms that have been in the soils. But our Ugandan soils, rich as they are, we have not been able to go in and find out what is there. And in a nutshell, we have used what we call machine learning to be able to combine classical microbiology, a bit of chemistry, and AI. And we have found 2 metabolites that have affinity for an enzyme that we think that if targeted very well can be a very good drug. And we're in the process of being able to get those metabolites and now take them to the wet lab and be able to find out what they can do. We're also working under the funding from the Ministry of Science and Technology for this cycle to develop diagnostics. We are targeting to develop a multiplex PCR targeting urinary pathogens, because we know that urinary infections are common and resistance in these pathogens is also becoming very common. And we're also given a challenge and say, although you want to develop PCR, not very many people will be able to access this diagnostic. We were given a challenge to be able to now design a smart RDT for UTI. Basically, to kind of complement this dipstick that we usually use. You know, many of you, when you go to the hospital and you have a urinary tract infection, they ask you for a sample. In the lab, they put a dipstick. And the result come back and they say, this person has infection. Okay, I'm sure some of you have experiences, infection. And I always ask myself, from wherever I studied, there never was a diagnosis of infection. Okay? But it's because the tools that they're using are very limited and very limiting. So we're given this challenge and we are going to live up to this challenge. God willing, if we come back next year, we shall come with samples. And if you have a UTI, we could test you from here. We want to thank the government of Uganda for funding us and the team that we work with as the PES and Mbarara University of Science and Technology for giving us the enabling environment. I also want to invite all of you. You know, some of you think Mbarara is very far. I want to invite you to Mbarara University to come and see the beautiful place called Mbarara. And on the 21st of this month, we have an annual research dissemination conference where more of these great researches that have happened in Mbarara are going to be disseminated. We call upon you to come and work with us. Some of you have money and you don't know how to spend it. Come and we see how we can do research together for God and my country. God bless you.
Let's give Professor Bazira a bigger round of applause as we invite him to take a seat up front. So Professor Bazira has told you about the innovations. At Mbarara University of Science and Technology, we say, in addition to publish or perish, we say innovate or perish. So this afternoon, we are telling you some of the innovations. And as you heard from Professor Bazira, we're inviting you to come visit Mbarara University of Science and Technology and work with us on various innovations. Our next speaker is going to be online, and he is none other than Dr. Medad Twinamasiko. I request the people on the IT side to project Medad's presentation. Dr. Medad Twinamasiko is the director of the Center for Innovations and Technology Transfer at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. He's also a senior lecturer in the Department of Environment and Livelihood Support Systems. He's an environmental scientist in this department, and he's spearheading innovations. He's in charge of the Innovations Hub at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, and he's going to tell you a lot more about the innovations at our university. Over to you, Medad, online.
Thank you very much, Prof. and our Vice Chancellor. I would like to recognize the presence of the protocol that I've observed, but in the interest of time, I would like to delve into the presentation, and I request that Secretariat would put up the presentation I shared. I don't know, Chair, if it is able to be retrieved. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, members, for gracing this important activity in our country, where we are looking at homegrown solutions or ideas that can change the future of our health system in Uganda. I would like to recognize our strength in innovation and technology transfer at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, where we've been very dedicated in terms of creating formidable solutions to the emerging communicable and non-communicable diseases in this country. Let's move to the next slide. So the innovation ecosystem at MUST is spearheaded by the center which I lead, the Center for Innovation and Technology Transfer, which was approved by the University Council in 2018. And it is premised at initiating a ground for innovations, skilling, technology transfer, and commercialization of innovations at MUST. Actually, this part of commercialization as a way of showing commitment to the national knowledge-based economy that we are yearning for. Last year in July, Mbarara University established the MUST Holdings Company, which is the commercial arm of the university, to make sure that the innovations that had always languished at the prototype level can move to the market and make meaningful intervention in this country. Next. Yeah, so at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, we have a very strong innovation ecosystem where we have a number of hubs that contribute to the homegrown health solutions. And we use a multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary innovation approach where we believe that it's no longer one discipline, but a breaking of silos to make sure that we have a well-rounded approach in innovations. So we have the Pharmaceutical Sciences Innovation Unit, which is more focused on producing natural therapeutic innovation solutions, as well as other interventions in health. It's under the Faculty of Medicine. And we have the Pharm Biotechnology and Traditional Medicine Center, which has been promoting the alternative and traditional medicine approach using herb and traditional medicine interventions. This is one of the centers of excellency which were established by World Bank, and we have been able to establish very strong production facilities, production development labs, and actually one of the labs is notified and certified by NDA as a center of excellency in natural therapeutics and traditional medicine. We have the magnetic resonance imaging engineering hub. One of the key innovations that I will later delve into has been an MRI. This hub is looking at engineering made solutions to health interventions in Uganda and the region and the globe at large. We have the Business Incubation Clinic, which facilitates the commercialization part of these innovations. We have the Consortium for Affordable Medical Technologies, HAMTech Uganda, which is focusing on the development of medical technologies. And part of these technologies are internationally recognized. Some have been licensed internationally and are being used. We also have Simulation for Life, which is a very important approach of using very minimal resources that we have because we are in a low and medium income country, but we can use simulation in order to promote medical education. We also have the software incubation unit under the Faculty of Computing and Informatics, which is basically developing innovations and systems, applications, both mobile and static applications that can help in communicating health interventions in our community and in the industry. We have also promoted agricultural innovations under the iSoft Innovation Hub, the Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies, which is focusing on developing organic farming technologies that will reduce the burden of disease in terms of synthetic fertilizer application and other pesticides that have been detrimental to our environmental health, but also to human health, with many risks associated with synthetic fertilizer application. We have the Social Innovation Hub under the Institute of Maternal, Newborn and Child Health, and this is mainly looking at how we can have social innovative approaches in our communities. We have been the champion of the village health teams in southwestern Uganda, and now we have integrated village health teams, and this is one of the hubs that we are proud of. So from what you see here, ladies and gentlemen, you can realize that at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, we have quite an interdisciplinary approach to innovative solutions to health challenges in this country. Next. So this is the model that we use. We make sure that we research, we innovate, we train, but we also produce. So we have a very institutionalized framework through which these innovations are made. And we are aiming at Mbarara University that in the next 10 years, we can have a cottage industry for natural therapeutics and natural medicine that can be housed here at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. So if you come in the next 10 years and you find that we have a very strong hub that promotes cottage industry model, then we'll be very proud to have an industry which houses a university, and that is our aspiration as a university. Next. So we have on the next slide, the innovation pathway, which has been copyrighted by Uganda Registration Services Bureau, where we have three facets of our innovation pathway. The first one, chair and members, is the prototyping and technology development, which starts from bold ideas to prototyping, product development, business development, and then the final stage is societal impact and knowledge-based economy. And the second one is on experiential learning, skilling, and practical hands-on learn and do model. So where we have developed and we are still developing a number of micro-credentials that go through approvals, both institutionally and at national level with Uganda Vocational and Technology and Technical Assessment Board, UVTAB. And then from there, they also go through the product development process, which can then lead to societal impact and knowledge-based economy. The last pathway is manufacturing, contract services, and commercialization, where we have a strong niche of engagement with industry, especially in most of the focus areas that we do in health, in engineering, in technology transfer. And these industrial players are now a very big partner to Mbarara University of Science and Technology, because we know that linkage is very important to generate our formidable outputs of impacting society and economy. Next. Next, we outline quite a number of innovations that are happening right now at MUST in line with health interventions in Uganda. These are homegrown solutions that we believe that with the dedicated leadership that we have at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, we should be able to see great homegrown solutions in our country that will impact our region and our globe. I tend to miss all the slides, but the first one on our list is the magnetic resonance imaging, which is a low-cost and portable permanent magnetic-based MRI system that does not require cooling. And it is suitable to be installed in rural hospitals because the uptake of power is very low. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, our cost for MRI and CT scan in this country is quite high, but the current homegrown approach at MUST of this MRI reduces the cost by 4 times. And it is now at the 3rd stage of prototyping, and we believe this will be a great breakthrough in the country. We also have AIR, which is the augmented infant resuscitator, which saves lives at birth. This device improves newborn resuscitation, and it is already on the market. It has been at one time licensed Philips, and now it is globally recognized as one of the remedies for infant mortality reduction. We have PRISMS, which protects remote infants. It's a novel phone application that empowers frontline health workers to effectively manage sick newborn babies. We have stroke detection device. We also have medical devices like MobCare, but this wonderful innovation of the early stroke detection detects stroke at an early stage, and it is at the version 2 of the prototype. Chair and distinguished guests, we have the digital pathology, which is a low-cost AI-based microscope that can be used for diagnosis of cervical cancer. We can proceed. Mbarara University has also been proudly associated with other innovations. Continue, please. The next slide. And these innovations, ladies and gentlemen, are fashioned in line with our local-based resources that are very constrained. We've come up with Mama Monitor, which prevents preeclampsia among mothers while giving birth. We have Lift Relief, which is a technology that relieves the pain of nurses carrying hospital patients. We have other innovations like HealCough, which is a combined therapy, natural therapy for cough and flu. Drip Sense Infusion Monitor, which will provide the real-time, efficient, and accurate infusion therapy in hospitals. The Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation also funded a project at MUST called Liquid Smoke Profenol Project, which develops antibacterial and antiviral drugs from liquid smoke. And the liquid smoke flavoring agent activated charcoal and producing fine gain from liquid smoke. Our students and also our staff have come up with an innovation which reduces the pain that patients of diabetes go through. It's called Shukari Care. It's a painless diabetes therapy, which is also at version 3 of the prototype, and it addresses one of the critical non-communicable diseases called diabetes. Next. More so, we've had the Simulation for Life, which is a medical innovation I've talked about, implementing simulation-based technology in managing maternal, newborn, and child health emergencies in resource-constrained setting. This technology, Chair and distinguished guests, has already been uptaken by different countries, including Tanzania. We have also launched it in Kenya and Nigeria, and we are so proud that Mbarara University, through a Canadian funding, was able to come up with this mode of delivering medical education. The e-village health teams, it's an application that animates digital training content for village health teams. We also have Photocabada, which is a hybrid phytotherapy machine that treats multiple babies with jaundice simultaneously in different compartments. And this is already validated on the market. We believe in the next 3 or 4 years, we should have this technology on the market. We have PEDCAN innovation, which is a medical application for early detection of cancer in children. So we can therefore look at how we can address some of these challenges before they manifest into real problems, because prevention is better than cure. NDA has also notified one of our innovations called the Malik tincture, which is an antifungal remedy and treats eczema. And this product is already on different pharmacies in the country and has been notified by NDA and has received quite many international awards recognizing the role of MUST in innovation and technology transfer. The last part, which is the next slide, is looking at the development process, some of the innovations that are already on the development process that are being validated on the market, some that we are soon, those that are being validated on the market will further go into clinical trials and then they can be launched on the market. But we have those that are already on the market, and we are proud to say that these are very important remedies for disease control and health intervention in the country. Next. Our chair and honorable members, we have some of these products at MUST. When you visit us at the university, you'll find our established exhibition museum where we have documented some of these products, and some of these are displayed on the screen, as you can see. These are homemade solutions. Next. We also have others that you can see there, which range from using natural products, natural materials, natural plants, and coming up with innovative solutions. And most of these are undergoing validation, and we believe that in the recent days to come, we should be able to have most of these notified by NDA and will be on the market. Next. Chair, my third slide shows the museum, the infrastructure that we have put in place under FarmBioTrack, which has collected quite a number of innovative solutions that are homemade, that we have put together for more learning, but also for more demonstration that we can use limited resources, but impact our health ecosystem very, very seriously. And we are so glad that our scientists do not sleep. They are very committed to working day and night to make sure that these outputs are realized. Next. We have also been able to have some of the students moving into having large-scale innovation interventions. Like, that is one of the students who has come up with a solution that can help in the storage of oxygen, and has come up with a solution called medium pressure oxygen storage system. The next photo, Chair and distinguished guest, is the notification that I've mentioned of the Malik tincture, which is already on the market. And we are so glad that now URSB is also recognizing it and will issue a patent very soon. Next. We also have this device I've been talking about of preeclampsia detection, which is called Mama Monitor. And this is done through our innovation, state-of-art innovation co-creation space, where we call it a war room, where students and staff come and innovate ideas and take them from ideation up to the product level so that they impact society. My second slide, my second last slide, shows the launch of the MUST Holdings company, which was graced by the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, where she was launching our operational manual. This will provide a systematic way of doing business at MUST and beyond. And this is something that we can tailor to other institutions of higher learning, because most innovations have a challenge of stopping at prototype level and they never move to the market. And we believe this is a very good pathway of taking most of our innovations in health into the market. Next slide. We have also come up with an organic fertilizer, which we call organic NPK, which addresses health interventions, because most of the inorganic fertilizers on the market and inorganic pesticides and herbicides have a detrimental effect in health. Literature has come to that and pointed to that. So we know that innovative organic approaches are very much connected to the health outcomes. And we are so glad that the president at one of the summits, one of the science weeks in Kampala, graced this innovation. Next. Finally, we want to thank you very much, and we are so open, Chair and honorable members, that MAST is open to facilitate our key learned messages, our lessons learned for over years, and we are so glad that we will welcome you when you come to MAST. We say succeed we must at MAST. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Medad Twinamasco, for that excellent presentation of the innovations taking place at Mbarara University of Science and Technology. Join me to give him a bigger round of applause. As I said, at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, in addition to saying publish or perish, we also say innovate or perish. We believe in a healthy nation for socio-economic transformation. And as you have seen from Medad, he's showed you the ecosystem that is answering local health problems, but also innovating for commercialization and therefore socio-economic transformation. I now invite our next presenter, who is none other than Professor Juliet Mwanga Amompaire. Professor Juliet Mwanga is going to present with Miss Rina, and they're going to come up together. Juliet is an associate professor of pediatrics and child health, and she's currently the director of Epicenter, Mbarara Research Center, where she's been for over 10 years. And Rina is a data scientist. She's the lead data manager for Epicenter, now over 13 years. Join me to welcome them to give their presentation.
So we stand on the protocol that has been observed since yesterday and bring you greetings from Mbarara. And after listening to all those wonderful presentations from Professor Joel and from Dr. Twinamasco, we now want to bring in something different, a different innovation. And we thought this, when Professor Joel told us and Professor Viachika to come and present here on behalf of MAST, we said, what can we talk to this audience that would be a bit unique and different? So we thought about telling you about the outbreak tools that we have innovated at Epicenter. And we think that this speaks to this audience, as you'll hear. So just to start, can we? Where? Yes, so before we go any further, we thought we'd tell you about Epicenter. And so why Epicenter and then why MAST? We think that's very important for us to learn about this. So Epicenter is the research arm of Doctors Without Borders, or MSF, that was founded in 1987. However, in 1996, then we moved to Uganda and established ourselves at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, where we have been doing research for the past 29 years in collaboration with Mbarara University of Science and Technology, and that's why we are here as MAST. And we are a site for high-profile clinical trials, clinical research, epidemiological research. But we thought today we would not share results of this because we've done this over and over, but we would share some of the tools that have enabled us to capture this research. And listen carefully, because the tools, as Rina will tell you, are some things that you could use in your hospitals, in your districts to capture data, which then you come next time and present as Professor Bazira did. So I now have the pleasure to hand you over to Ms. Rina Arinitwe, our data scientist and lead data manager and one of the innovators of this tool. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Juliet. As she mentioned, why outbreak tools? So outbreak tools, these are innovations that we have come up with to support field investigators like you, epidemiologists, in handling complex emergencies, especially in epidemics. And these tools are used in resource-limited settings like ours. And I just want to tell you that these tools, they are already implemented. Like, for example, WHO is already using the outbreak tools that we implemented. So what do these tools aim at? First of all, the tools are embedded in our normal usual softwares that are already designed like Excel, and you will see how they are embedded. And they support and save time for the MSF. As she mentioned, we are part of the MSF team, and also our partners, the Ministry of Health from the different countries, and as well as the WHO. In these tools, as we developed several tools, but specifically today we shall look at the outbreak tools. We embedded in validations to help improve the quality of data, as you see, and also to be able to capture data in real time during the outbreaks. Next. So I'll just explain how this tool was developed, specifically the outbreak tool. We have models we have also developed, but basically I'll look at the outbreak tools today. So this tool is embedded in a normal Excel that you've been using. Why Excel? Because Excel is easily used by everyone. We don't need to train, there's not much to do, but we added in a module that you're going to see. And this module is developed using the Visual Basic softwares to develop the line list. So what is a line list? Maybe briefly to go through. So a line list is a simple tool that displays data according to each facility, each patient, according to each pathogen that you're looking at, or each pandemic that you're looking at. And specifically here, so we have an Excel tool. Under the Excel, we have a module called the outbreak tools that is already embedded in the Excel. And this tool has a full component, full validation rules, full SQL that helps you to share to visualize. You are able to clean within the same tool. Everything is done within that one module. And I'll just display it for you. So I have just mentioned about this. So under this tool, so first of all, you're able to enter data within that very tool, and then it's able to compile, and you're able to compile, clean, and share a complete analysis. So you're able even to perform analysis within the outbreak tools. So if you are in the field, for example, and there is an outbreak, you are able to have the data entered immediately, real time. And then from there, they're able to do, the cleaning is done within the tool, and it's able to provide you with analysis, and you're able to tell how the outbreak is moving real time according to the place, the time, and you're able to tell the affected area during the outbreak before you even conclude the outbreak. So you have to enter the data immediately, and you're able to get your analysis there and then. So of course, we also have the SQL, we embedded in SQL where we store in our data, and this SQL also helps us to be able to analyze the data and to share it to our dashboards. So I put, there's a ribbon, so that outbreak tools is just like within the menu, it's a component that you can be able to import into your Excel as a menu, but it has a full component of its own with everything designed within that one component. So within that component, you're able to enter data, you're able to analyze the data, you're able even to clean and analyze all your data, as well as share it for visualization to the dashboards. So as well as, of course, within that tool, we have different variables, and these variables are basing on the different outbreaks that have been happening. And so far, we've looked at 6 outbreaks, as you will see, and they have all different variables embedded. But you may find that today, if you have a measles outbreak, and tomorrow you have maybe a different outbreak, they cannot use the same, you not need exactly all the same variables. So some of them you're able to keep them, and you're able to only display a few. And all this is embedded within that one tool. We also have the Geo app still embedded within the outbreak tool and the Geo helper. So the Geo app helps you to be able to allocate, to be able to know the exact area where the outbreak is happening, and you're able to import it within your line list, and you're able to display according. For example, if you know maybe the area and you do not know the administration, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3, still you're able to use the helper, and you're able to identify the different areas where the outbreak is taking place, and then you're able to easily make the take your decision whether which part is affected more or which part is affected less. So also, as I mentioned, that within the same tool, we have validations, conditional form, we had it in conditional formats. So you don't just enter data. It guides you on how you're going to enter the data, and even prompts you to enter certain ranges. So you don't just enter any data because first of all, you're aiming at the quality of the data that you're entering at that time. And of course, we also want real-time analysis to make decisions during the outbreak. Being that these are emergencies, we want to have the data immediately analyzed, and then we are able to take decisions. This I already mentioned that we have analysis within the tool, within the outbreak tools. There's already a module for analysis that we are able to use to analyze the data as you enter the data immediately. So it may look a simple Excel tool, but it's not just a simple Excel tool. It has different software that are embedded within it, and that's why you're able to perform those different things based on the features that are embedded. And then you're able to, of course, at the end of the day, you're able to export from the tool, and you're able to display within the dashboards. We have different dashboards that so far we have designed for the different diseases. As you will see, so far currently, we have a dashboard for measles, a dashboard for cholera, diphtheria, hepatitis E, meningitis, and mpox. Maybe to go back a little. Sorry. Just to help. So these tools have already, as I mentioned, they're already used by WHO, and they have been implemented on all the operating centers for MSF. MSF works support WHO as well as Ministry of Health for the different countries. And being that it's an independent organization, but it comes in as a humanitarian organization to help, especially during outbreaks and during war-torn times. So like I mentioned, this tool has also been implemented in 16 countries, including DRC here. It was supposed to be used during the time for Ebola, when we had an Ebola outbreak here in Uganda, but unfortunately it wasn't. So, but the next outbreak in DRC, it was used. So we know that this tool will continue to be used, as it's already implemented, and the WHO has already taken it up. And the purpose of this tool is just to help us, avail us with real-time data to make decisions, especially during an outbreak where we really need information immediately on how to take decisions. So this I already mentioned, but we already have also a documentation and a training shared within the link. We have links in GitHub, and even this tool, if you go to WHO website, you're able to read about it more. So we already have this implemented, but we keep on adding new modules that can help us to visualize, and more new innovations within the same tool. With that, I can say thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Rina, for your presentation, and thank you, Professor Mwanga. Can we give them a bigger round of applause? So we are here this afternoon to learn about prevention and management of both communicable and non-communicable diseases. I'm not sure that any of us is at risk of communicable diseases right now, but I can see very many at risk of non-communicable diseases. And therefore, I'd like you to stand up so that we prevent these non-communicable diseases. Combination of sleep and venous thrombosis. And I would like to get a volunteer to come and give us an energizer so that the blood can circulate better and also the brains can work better, so we prevent sleep and these blood clots that are becoming very frequent. And a volunteer to give us an energizer in 2 minutes? Yes? The commissioner in charge of NCDs. Where is the commissioner? I see Dr. Mungera is putting up her hand. Are you ready to give us an energizer, Dr. Mungera? Okay, the commissioner in charge of NCDs, Raymond, who is that? If he's not here, yes? Yes, please come. Run up so that we don't spend too much time. We need to wake up, but we also need to get the blood flowing. Dr. Nabada.
We are going to, carbohydrates and proteins. When I say protein, you keep standing. A carbohydrate, you sit down. You understand? A carbohydrate, you do what? You sit down. A protein, posho, beans, posho beans, posho beans. Yeah, Dr. Susan. Posho beans, posho beans. A protein, you sit. A carbohydrate, you stand. A carbohydrate, you stand. A protein, you sit, right? Wanji? Yeah, very fast. Yes, should be rigorous. Yes, should be rigorous. Okay, fish, fish, fish. Proteins we keep up, carbohydrates we sit down. This is now misleading me. Okay, now let's keep on the root track. Proteins let's sit down, carbohydrates will stand. Carbohydrates will stand, proteins will sit down. Let's go. Beans, sweet potatoes, cassava, fish, cocoyams, cowpeas. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Considering what we have gone through, we might need a nutritionist to tell us what our protein is. So thank you very much for that energizer. Let's continue presenting these by being physically active. I now would like to invite Dorcas. Dorcas again. Minutes, 7 to 10 minutes. Dr. Dorcas Achen is a lecturer at the Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies. Please note that there was a mistake on the poster. It is the Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies. She's also a postdoctoral researcher on the Connect project, and she's an expert on parent-child sexual and reproductive health communication and community-based participatory approaches. Join me to welcome Dorcas.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me now? Thank you for the opportunity to talk about our work. Okay, like that? All right, can you hear me now properly? All right, thank you very much. I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk about our work. And today I'll talk about, I'm from the Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies, and we have an adolescent health working group. And today I'm going to talk about the work we've been doing for the past 10 years, our experience with adolescent health research for the past 10 years. Next slide, that's me. Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Point it up.
ah. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I can't see. I'm a little short. Okay. All right, so I'll tell you, it's really a story of the work that we've done, and I'll start with our first project. We've picked just a couple of projects that we've done a lot more. And the first project that I'll talk about is our comprehensive sexuality education project that we did around 2014 through to 2019. And we worked in schools, in 33 primary schools in southwestern Uganda. And we worked with a community advisory board in the schools, and also very important to notice that we worked with university students as facilitators in this intervention. In this project, one of the things that came out is that because we're talking to young people about sexual and reproductive health and comprehensive sexuality education in schools, and what came out very strongly is, first of all, that there's knowledge on SRH issues, but it's very fragmented. For instance, while almost all of the participants, for instance, had heard about HIV, only a third of them knew about any other STI apart from HIV. Also, another interesting, very important finding was that young people, which I'm sure most of you already know anyway, is that young people were getting SRH information from the media. And parent-child SRH communication was seen as foundational, protective, and if open and positive, could help with positive outcomes for young people, but it was very limited. What we're seeing is that only 10% of fathers were talking to their children about SRH issues, and 20% of mothers. And then also the risks had already started within this age group of 10 to 14, they were already exposed to sex. 7.6 of the young people in this age group were already having sex, and 9 out of 10 of them were not using any form of protection, which is very important to note. So one of the key things, So one of the key findings that came out of the study one, which was a CSE project, was that parent-child SRH communication was important, was foundational, and it had to be open and positive, and it was protective for young people. So in project 2, which is a CPAC project, and here I combined 2, CPAC and the repeat studies, which happened around the same time. I'll talk about them very quickly. So in parent-child SRH communication, we were asking ourselves, so we know that there's limited parent-child SRH communication, why? So it's limited, and the cultural factors were mostly to blame for this. Traditionally, parents did not talk to their children about SRH issues. It was a role for the paternal aunties, paternal uncles, and the grandparents. But because society has changed now, and we are more in a cash economy, nuclear families, so the paternal and so parents are now have to take on the primary role of giving parent-child SRH communication, but they are ill-equipped. They don't know what to say. They don't know when to say it or even how to start. And with some of the SRH topics, we notice that they run away from them all completely. They're very afraid of talking about them. They think if we talk about sex, and we might expose our children to sex. They were talking about, in our research, we saw that they were very comfortable talking about hygiene, HIV, but for very touchy-feely topics, for instance, sexual violence, consent, pregnancy prevention, and the like, they were not talking about these issues. So in this study, the CPAC study, we had an intervention where we developed modules, co-created models with the community, and used community facilitators to implement this. From this study, we developed a parent-child SRH communication manual, a facilitator's manual, which we developed with the community and with the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Community Development. It's available. From this study also, we had a couple of publications which are available online. The repeat study was a study about adolescents, and from this study we saw that adolescents who had already become pregnant were at a higher risk of having a repeat pregnancy. And this study happened around the COVID period, and we saw that COVID increased the risk as well, because, you know, there was a lot of poverty, there was limited, they couldn't go to the health facilities and the schools were closed. It heightened the risks. In the repeat study, the intervention was kind of group counseling, and we'd had the intervention in 8 health centers, 3s and 4s in rural southwestern Uganda as well. And from the results from that study show that when you compare the intervention versus control groups, contraceptive use increased, doubled by twice, by twice more. And sorry. So we've gone through the CSE project, the CPAC project, and now in 2025, we've started the Connect project. So the Connect project is also still, we continue with parent-child SRH communication, but now in unstable environments. In our previous work, we worked in rural southwestern Uganda in a stable community. And now we want to see, what does parent-child communication look like in unstable communities? Uganda hosts one of the largest numbers of refugees in Africa, and half of those refugees are below the ages of 18. Within this group as well, they have disrupted parenting roles. We have child parents and the like, and all their conditions put them at even a higher risk of SRH, of our SRH issues. And so in this study, we go back to test our previous tool and also to improve it. Our manual, we're going to work again with our manual and see how to improve it. How does it work? How does parent-child SRH communication work in the refugee setting, and how can we improve it and also improve our tool? In the study, we're working in Bidibidi, refugee settlement, and Yumbe districts for the host, and Nachivale refugee settlement and Isinjiro district for the host. And also in this same project, we have an objective on policy. And the question here is, we've done a lot of work, 10 years of adolescent health work. We have a lot of literature that has been published, but so what? And so in the policy objective, what we are doing is we've done a review of all the studies that we've done, and we're working with the Ministry of Health now to develop a guide to help parents lead in parent-child SRH communication. At the stage where we are now, we are in the process of piloting. We've piloted in the southwestern area, and now we are piloting in Yumbe and Bidibidi as we speak. And what's already coming out, for instance, is the tool works very well. And works very well. The health workers have asked us to take it to the community section of the health centers, where they feel like it will be given the adequate time that it needs. They've also asked us already to translate this into many languages. I hope that when we are done and when it's ready, we'll have the opportunity to come back and share with you what it looks like. So, like I said, we are moving, after 10 years of doing this research, we want to move away just from the community and translate our work into policy, into collaborations, into a bigger stage. So our colleague, Dr. Weiler, and Professor Mihilson from KU Leuven, this year were granted the opportunity to be UNESCO chairs on sexual and reproductive and sexuality education co-chairs, which gives us a larger platform to share our experiences on contextualizing sexuality education and working within community-based participatory approaches. We've also developed, like we've talked about, the manual, the parent-adolescent communication manual, which I've said is available, and we're already improving it with our new project now. And also the Help Parents Lead Guide, which we are working with the Ministry of Health. Also, we are part of the ANSWER SRH network, which is a global network for sexual and reproductive health. And within that, we also had, we had the iShare study. And in this study, we worked with 30 countries on SRH and on 30 countries globally. And it was about COVID-19 and the impact of it on the different regions. Of course, for Uganda, we did represent, but how did it look like in the different regions across the world? We've been able to publish internationally, and also a couple of policy documents as well. Oh, sorry. I think I've talked about this slide as well, but also from our studies, one other thing that we've done, especially from our repeat studies and our CPAC studies, is one thing that we also did was we worked with Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital to establish an adolescent clinic to establish an adolescent clinic. It's been operational since 2023, I think. And we have almost 100 adolescents that come in almost every day. The ages of the adolescents that come in are between the ages of 10 to 20, from 10 to 22 years of age. It works 5 days a week, and the staff have been trained to offer youth-friendly services. Of course, there's still a lot that could be done to improve the clinic. There's need for more, to improve the facility, bed space, and so much more to make it even more functional. But we believe this is a good start and look forward to collaborations to build this further. So in our next step as our research group, we look forward to more collaborations and turning all of our work into policy. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Please give Dorcas a bigger round of applause. Okay, our last presenter this afternoon is Mary Namkisa. She's the Research and Infrastructure Manager at Global Health Collaborative. She holds a bachelor's degree in nursing and a master's degree in public health and research ethics. And she's a certified clinical research associate. She's going to tell us about Global Health Collaborative. She manages all the research, ensuring the conduct is according to national and international standards. You're welcome, Mary.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Protocol observed. Let us have the presentation loaded.
Green.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to go back behind the restore it. Now, my next one.
Men and women in IT, as they're working on loading the presentation, have been introduced, and I'm standing in the shoes of Ms. Annette Kembabazi, the Chief Executive Officer, Global Health Collaborative, which is a partnership between Mbarara University of Science and Technology, Massachusetts General Hospital Center for Global Health, Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital, and other partners. Thank you so much. The presentation is here, and I'll go straight. I'm presenting 2 decades of the partnership, and I've already mentioned what Global Health Collaborative is. So our vision at this partnership, we aspire to be a leading partner of academic and clinical partnership that optimizes health and well-being globally. And the mission is to build bilateral institutional capacity through research, innovation, education, clinical care, and responsive program implementation support in Uganda and beyond. We have 5 strategic areas: research and infrastructure, medical innovations, education, clinical partnerships, and community health. Biblically, Amos 3:3 says that 2 people cannot move together unless they agree. In that picture is the director, Center for Global Health at Massachusetts And then Professor Louis Ivers and our Vice Chancellor, Professor Pauline, shaking hands and agreeing to move together as partners. This partnership has been there for more than 2 decades, started in 2004 as one research project focusing on HIV. And over these decades, we have managed to implement over 59 research projects, 33 successfully closed, and 26 currently active. Increasingly, we are focusing on clinical care and also medical innovations. Currently, we have 15 clinical partnerships. These are already existing, but they still need to be strengthened. We have over 150 affiliated staff to this partnership, and all these are hired through Mbarara University Grants Office. The program was formally evaluated in 2024 and legally registered this year. So, some of the outcomes presented through our strategic objectives under research and infrastructure, we currently have over 26 research protocols under implementation in communicable and non-communicable areas, and also community implementation and advancement. Under innovation, we have supported different innovations at Mbarara University through CAMTech, the Center for Affordable Medical Technologies. And for this, we supported different hackathons where innovators would come together and bring together innovations, prototypes, and also have those prototypes also advanced through our partnership. In education, we have supported over 206 scholarships for the Masters in Nursing and Masters in Medicine, and 181 have so far graduated. Just this October, we had 27 scholars, 20 in the Masters of Nursing, and also 7 in Masters in Medicine graduate this year, supported through the program. In clinical partnerships, like I said, we have over 15 active partnerships, and these include, I'll just mention a few. These include renal, emergency medicine, internal medicine, ISSS clinic, and also oncology, among others. In this partnership, we support salaries, supplies. For Natasha Nutrition, we support food that helps the children that are admitted on Natasha, and also on oncology, and also the TB unit. Medicines, we know how cancer medicines are very expensive, and through these partnerships, we have been able to support the oncology unit with medicines. And with infrastructure, we have supported building some of the infrastructures, including the COVID unit of Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital, and the oncology unit for children at Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital. We also support community health through where 50 facilities in Western Uganda have been supported by taking students in specialist training to go in those communities and be able to give advanced care where the people in these communities would not be able to get the care unless they come to Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital. In addition, we have been able to bring low cadre health workers from these facilities at Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital for special training where they go back and able to do kind of interventions that would initially not able to do. These are some of the partnerships. I've already mentioned some of them. And this is the COVID unit. We talked about infrastructure. It's a 40-bed capacity that was constructed in 2021 during the COVID pandemic. And it was facilitated with piped oxygen and also clinical staff from its opening up to the end of 2024. This unit has been supported through the Global Health Collaborative Partnership. This is the Mbarara General Referral Hospital Oncology Unit for children, and this was initially put by this partnership and has been supported. In addition to all that we do, we also support the annual cancer color runs to increase awareness for childhood cancers within the region, but also add on additional funds that are locally generated to improve and support the unit. Now, most of these partnerships have been implemented under the First Mile program that has led so many things, including the nurse leadership training, where our nurses from Mbarara University have gone to Massachusetts General Hospital for a leadership training. But we have also been able to train trainers of trainers, and then we bring the training here for a bigger impact. Innovations, I've already mentioned CAMTech, where we've supported different innovations, advanced medical training through scholarships, clinical partnerships, and also community health. Now, when you talk about research, we have not only improved just implementation of research, but also authorship. We have had publications increase, like you see in the first graph, but also we have had awards coming from our people, some of them that started as research assistants for the partnership have now become PIs that have their own projects, and that really points at capacity building. Of course, we have some challenges that we have faced, and these include miscommunications and sometimes poor flow of communication and information. Sometimes you go to this office and they're like, no, go to this one, go to this one. And there are cultural differences. Our partners see things differently, and sometimes we also see things differently. But we have been able to handle this through cultural orientations, especially for our partners, and lack of collaborative infrastructure. As far as we have been able to put structures and infrastructure for certain work, but we rent outside the university and the hospital, so we lack the infrastructure to actually implement this collaboration effectively. And sometimes there are resistance to change, and yet change must happen. Distrust and disrespect sometimes, and also funding uncertainties. This didn't just hit the ISS clinic. The fact that most of our programs focus on HIV and they were NIH funded. We have also been affected with these funding cuts, but we are still here, and our partners have really tried to see that we still, the partnership is still running. To solve some of the challenges we have seen, we recommend that for any partnership, common understanding of the project goals and expected outcomes should come at the beginning of the partnership. That's where a memorandum of understanding, MOUs, should be signed, such that you know what do we need, what do we have, and what do we expect. And also the role of each partner in this collaboration should be very clear. One of the assets in research collaboration is data. So it is important that you know data collection, storage, and sharing conditions among this partnership. That's where you need data sharing agreements and also material transfer agreements if there are materials that you're going to collect, like blood. And also, if changes are supposed to be made, you need to agree on how to go about it. Publication and authorship, and how these authors are going to be arranged and also recognized in any publication in the partnership should be very clear from the beginning. And who has the authority to speak publicly about this partnership? All those things should be agreed upon. Resolution of intellectual property rights and ownership. I thank our Vice Chancellor, because the university has a legal officer that guides on each of these things, and this has been really, really helpful
even though sometimes you have setbacks in the beginning, but as long as all those documents have been agreed upon and signed by all partners, in the end, the process is really smooth. In conclusion, MAST, MRH, and MGH as partners continue to work together to impact communities. And in that picture, we really see we are working, the local team together with the Director, Center for Global Health, Professor Ivers Louise. We are saying that if you want to work to go fast in a partnership, you're going to go alone. But if you have to want to go far in this partnership, then you have to move together as partners. I appreciate and acknowledge our partners, both local and international partners, and thank you all of you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Mary. Please take a seat. Raymond, I don't know if we still have time. No time. Okay, allow us just 2 to 3 minutes for us to show one very important study that the presenter is going to be online. Can you please allow them log on and share? Just 2 to 3 minutes, very important. We know malaria is a big problem in this country. And the next presentation is going to show us a homegrown solution towards fighting malaria. Professor Edgar Mologo, are you online or a representative? Have they logged on? If they are not on,
Yes.
I'll refer you to the New England Journal of Medicine so that you can read their article. Are they on?
Hello.
Oh, yes. Are you on?
I'm on.
Please go ahead.
Yes, please. I'm on.
Okay. You have 3 minutes to highlight the key findings. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm Ronnie Lizaye from MAST, representing Professor Edgar from Department of Community Health. I don't know if they're going to put the slides up. Please, the Secretariat, present our slides. Thank you. So this is a malaria prevention innovation strategy, which is leveraged on the traditional practice of carrying babies on the backs. It's called the LESO project, which is the permethrin-treated baby wraps for the prevention of malaria. And it was Professor Edgar Mologo was the principal investigator, while I was the study coordinator next. Next, please. We are funded by the Doris Duke Charitable Foundation. Next. Let's proceed. In the interest of time. Recently, there's been a stall in the progress against malaria, and it's due to different reasons that we're going to highlight in the next slide. That gives a breakdown of the burden of this malaria in the sub-Saharan region. Next. In Uganda, primarily we see Plasmodium falciparum is the major cause of this malaria, especially among children, and approximately we have 12 million cases annually, according to a study in 2023. Let's move on. The options we have in Uganda to control malaria include pyrethroid-treated bed nets. We have indoor residual spraying. We have the RDTs for testing, and the treatment, which is the ACTs and IV artesunate. Proceed. The challenges that have caused this stalling in the progress against malaria include, let's next, please. We have pyrethroid resistance. Like we saw, the bed nets we all have in this country are all pyrethroid treated, and we have a high rate of the resistance to those pyrethroids. We have climate change, which are, for example, floods that have caused the surge in the vector populations, the mosquitoes. We have artemisinin resistance, And then the primary focus of this is brought up by crepuscular biting, which is ideally the biting rates at the peaks of dawn and dusk, early morning and late evening. This is outdoor biting by mosquitoes, which ideally cannot be protected by the layer of protection we have by mosquito nets. So this what introduces our innovation next. This is our concept. Next. Baby wraps or lesus or vitenges, what we call them here in Western Uganda, they are used across Africa for children between 2 months and 2 years, and they also serve as blankets or swaddles. I'm sure everyone is conversant with those lesus we're talking about. Let's move on. Our hypothesis was treatment of these wraps to carry children with permethrin will provide an additional layer of protection against malaria, especially when the child is outside the home, i.e. not under the net. We talked of outdoor biting being one of the biggest causes of this malaria lately. Next. One, please. The advantages of these lesus, they protect against the outdoor biting by mosquitoes. It's leveraged on the traditional cultural practice of carrying babies on the back. It exists locally and targets the key age group. That's children who are always at risk of catching this malaria. There's reduced skin absorption and it complements the existing interventions, for example, nets and residual spraying. Let's move on. By design, this was a clinical trial, a randomized clinical trial that was randomized through Red Cap, and it was placebo controlled. We purchased all these lesus locally, and treatment was done. The control was done by soaking in water. That was a sham treatment. All clinicians and technicians were not aware of this. They were blinded by this randomization. Let's see what happened. For eligibility, we targeted mothers with singleton children between 6 to 18 months of age. Those are children, and mothers with multiple births, for example, twins were not enrolled.
Ronnie, please move to the results. Present the
Please,
results.
let's move to the results.
The key results.
Next, please. Proceed. Next. Oh, right there. Thank you. There are two arms of the clinical trial. We had the permethrin-treated RAPS arm and the sham-treated RAPS arm. We can see from the very first row that there was a difference in the incidence of clinical malaria episodes by almost 30%, which showed a significant reduction of malaria by the permethrin-treated lesus. That was our primary outcome that showed how this innovation worked. Next, please. Next. Next. Future directions. Thank you for listening. Yeah, for future directions, we are looking at treating school uniforms for children and maternity clothing, especially for mothers, to make sure this is scalable. Given this is scalable.
Okay, thank you very much, Ronnie. Let's give Ronnie a big round of applause. Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions, but I encourage you to look out for the presenters outside this session and ask questions. The theme for this session was homegrown solutions to local problems. And I think you'll agree with me that at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, we are actually looking at homegrown solutions to local problems, starting with Professor Bazira, who told us about the burden of antimicrobial resistance and what he and his team are doing to reduce this burden, but also to come up with innovations to treat some of these bugs. We went on to Dr. Juliet Mbarara and Rina, who told us about their innovation in terms of fighting epidemics and outbreaks. We also went on to Dorcas, who told us very important information about sexual and reproductive health. Many of us have children, adolescents in our houses, but how many of us talk to them about sex? How many, by show of hands, talk to your own children about sex? And that is exactly what Dorcas is answering. And she has shown us that this group is actually sexually active. And if we are to prevent some of these communicable diseases, we need to speak to them and give them the tools, the information to fight these diseases. We also saw Mary tell us about their innovations, and we saw Ronnie also tell us about innovations to fight malaria, a big burden, or that causes a big burden of disease in this country. So join me to give these presenters a big round of applause. And to give Mbarara University of Science and Technology a bigger round of applause. I want to thank the organizers of this meeting, Makerere University School of Public Health and the Ministry of Health, for giving us, as Mbarara University of Science and Technology, an opportunity to highlight some of our innovations here. Thank you very much, and we look forward to this continuing as an annual event, and we look forward to you inviting us again and again. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for Professor Biachika. Thank you very much. A whole Vice Chancellor being here this afternoon is really a great honor. Thank you very much. This shows the good work. And by the way, beyond even that, I have attended very many conferences here in Kampala. Rarely have I seen Mbarara University of Science and Technology very much involved. So this is great progress. Thank you very much and continue. And I know you have invited us to Mbarara, something like that very soon for the innovation and I think 21st of November. So please, Mbarara, the land of milk and honey and innovation, and we shall not perish. We shall be there. Thank you very much. Once again, my sincere apologies. We started anyway a bit late after lunch, and it was good, you know, the university moves us with the time. But we have one more panel discussion by the non-communicable diseases department. I want to take this opportunity to call upon Dr. Frank Mugabe to take us through this. It will be about an hour, and we should be through, and we move on. And the good thing is that I'm also going to ask the hotel management and the leadership, please increase your AC. Because I've seen people, once it is warm, people tend to, the carbohydrate tends to take control. So, and being non-communicable diseases, I know very well, they are going to take us also through drills to reduce these non-communicable diseases. Dr. Frank Mugabe, thank you very much and take lead. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience. A very important session is going to begin on non-communicable diseases. I will invite my panelists in the interest of time. They come in front here, and we shall take you through maybe what you have known, maybe what you have not known, but which touches your life. I want to request that none of you leaves before this session ends, for your own good. You know, NCD prevention is your responsibility. In most cases, we blame it on the government, we blame it on the food, on what, but it's your responsibility. So allow me invite Dr. Isaac Sinaburia, who is our consultant cardiologist with Heart Institute, Professor Kadye Subura, who is a consultant nephrologist. He's also head of the Department of Physiology, Makerere University. He also heads the dialysis unit of Novik Hospital. I also want to recognize Dr. Wenceslas Katagira. He's a researcher and a physician with the Makerere Lung Institute. Dr. Norebu Mugisha from Uganda Cancer Institute. Dr. Susan Nabada, our commissioner, the laboratories. She's going to tell us about NCDs and laboratories. We are yearning for that presentation. Dr. William Muru, physician, he's a diabetologist. He also happens to be the president of the Uganda Diabetes Association. So the way they have come, Dr. Muru will tell us about diabetes. This emphasis is on prevention. There is a lot of confusion when we talk about NCD prevention. People don't know what to touch, what not to touch, and it's really around us. Dr. Kadye Subura will tell us about prevention of kidney disease. We know kidney disease starts from somewhere. How do we prevent it? Dr. Noreb Mugisha will tell us about cancers. But the cancers of interest in this session is cancer of the cervix, cancer of the prostate, and cancer of the breast. But he'll also show you other cancers in the other regions. Dr. Wenceslas will tell us about chronic respiratory diseases, specifically asthma and COPD. Then Dr. Isaac will tell us about cardiovascular diseases, but underlining more hypertension, because hypertension is what we know most, but what leads to many other problems. While Dr. Susan, she will tell us the improving NCD laboratory diagnostics and maybe what the government has in the bag for improving NCD diagnosis. We won't take a lot of time. Each presenter will be given about 8 minutes. And we think we can run through the presentations and do the questions at once. So, where do I start? May I take this opportunity to invite Dr. Norebu Mugisha to take us through his part, the cancer presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mugabe. Huh? This one. When I want to go down? Down. This one, up. This one. Okay. This one next, back. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Mugabe. And I want to start by saying all protocol observed, just in case. But maybe I should say Vice Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Professor Byachika, thank you for being with us. And protocol observed. They have given me 8 minutes, and I pray that within 6 minutes, I am done. Let me first learn this. So I thought it's only wise to start from the definition of cancer. And I don't want to assume that people in this room know what cancer is. So cancer is a group of diseases. It's very easy to be tempted to think cancer is one disease, even when you're a health worker. So cancer is a group of diseases, and they are all called cancer because they behave in a similar way. But it's a group of diseases that result from uncontrolled cell growth. As simple as that, uncontrolled cell growth, because when a person is growing, there is a mechanism by which the body controls cell growth. Now, cancer results when cells grow uncontrollably. And usually, this uncontrolled cell growth results into a lump or a swelling, which is the commonest, the commonest way many people think cancers actually present. But there are types of cancers where actually there is no swelling, there is no mass, there is no lump. And these we call liquid cancers. An example is leukemia. Someone with leukemia might not have any swelling on the body. And I also thought it's important to just emphasize this, that cancer actually results from genetic alterations or aberrations, or what you'd call a mutation. And this is why it's sometimes very, very difficult to point a finger